Welcome to 20 tips and tricks I wish I knew before playing Valorant. The first tip is always remember that you are faster with your knife. You see running around with an AK your 1 speed, get out the knife and just improve your speed by so much. Better to get to cover, rotate, just an all round good choice to use. For tip number 2, always make sure that your firing error turned off. As you can see at the start, the more you shoot, the wider apart your crosshair gets, whereas with it off, then it stays together. It just makes it so much easier for you to remember where the center of your screen is and get your spray perfect. So for our third tip, is that the bomb actually, you can defuse it to halfway and then stop, and it saves where you are. So you can defuse it to halfway to bait out an enemy, peek them, kill them, and then continue the defuse, and it'll remember where it was at halfway, and you can just finish it quick as that.
Thrifty. We need nothing but
Tip number 4, learn the abilities. For example, Sage, her wall, you can boost yourself or teammates into height advantage places where you can hold an angle enemies will not expect you to get a quick easy peek on them. Tip number 5, when you want to res an enemy who might have died in the open, instead of just rezzing them outright, always put down a wall just to block off the line of sight from the enemies so you can revive your teammate and they just don't die in the open. You can then use your wall to get the little height advantage here. You can just peek over it when they don't accept and then you can just tap them in the heads right there. Tip number 6, when you're rotating, if you don't want to be too loud, instead of dropping down, making full noise, attaching and going up, you can hold shift to sneak, attach quietly, keep holding shift to go down, shift the whole way, attach, shift up, and then there'll be no noise of you coming. Perfect to get behind enemies without them having a clue that's what you're doing. Tip number 7. Much like tip number 6, if you hold shift over a slow orb, instead of making the normal noise that you hear now, holding shift gets rid of any noise that you make walking over it, which means you can still sneak behind the enemy team by going over one of them, without them knowing that's what's happening. Tip number 8. Anyone who plays Phoenix knows that his Hot Hands ability can be used to heal him. But not many people know that his Blaze ability can also heal him. Just by standing in it, you can heal him as well as getting the enemy's line of sight off of you. Just be careful as both of them do still damage your team as well. Tip number 9. Careful where you use Phoenix's run it back ultimate ability, as if you use it out in the middle of a site like this, then when you run out, you might go get a kill or 2 and die. When you then end up respawning after being dying, or 10 seconds are up, if you're out in the open, an enemy just anywhere could then take you out while you spawn back in before you can actually shoot or move or anything. So always just take care on where you actually start the ability. Always, if you're going to rush a site, do it around the corner before you actually go in, so that when you do end up spawning back in, you're out in cover. Tip number 10. Much like Phoenix's run it back ability, Omen's from the Shadow's ultimate, be careful where you actually choose to go, as if you went into the enemy spawn like so, the time it takes for you to actually get your gun out and spawn in, they could kill you before doing so and being able to shoot. So always take care where it is you go. So if you're starting the round, don't just spawn right into the enemy spawn, as all 5 will be there and you won't even get one of them. Use it tactically to get to angles they will not expect you so early in the round. Tip number 11. With Viper's toxic screen ability, it surprised me not many people know that with it, you can aim up and using the mini-map, you can see where it will go over walls. So you can put it to where the enemies are coming from, press E to deploy it, and it can actually block a rush off. As you can see, if you use it at the start of the round, it will block them from coming through. You can sneak through and use it as a smoke. Just be careful that you don't want to get it stuck too far out of the way to the point where it becomes useless, as you cannot pick it up again.
toxin screen down.
Tip number 12. Viper's ultimate ability, Viper's Pit, is perfect for if your team has control of a site and you want to plant. You can use it and just plant the bomb on the site, and it will block any enemy's field of view, sight, minimizes their health, and as long as you're stood within the gas as Viper, it will not go away. Perfect for if you're in that 1v5 situation while all your team's dead. You can just sit in a corner and wait for the enemies to come in and catch them all off guard. They will not be expecting them. Tip number 13. If you've played Valorant yet, you will probably know that if you jump and shoot, the bullets aren't going to go where you're aiming. While that's true with almost every gun in the game, there is an exception. Shotguns are perfectly accurate when jumping. Nothing happens to the spread. So you can jump, and no matter what, it's going to go where you're aiming. That's the only exception. Every other fully automatic gun will not go where you're aiming when you're jumping. Tip number 14. When I first started playing Valorant, one thing I wish I knew was the Bulldog and the Stinger. Although when you shoot with them they're full auto, when you aim, the Bulldog has a 3-round burst, and if you hold down it doesn't shoot the other burst automatically, you have to keep clicking, which has caught me off the first time I used it. And with the Stinger, it does a 4-round burst when you're ADS. So it looks like it's full auto, ADS, and it starts to burst. Same thing, you can't hold it, you have to click every time you want to burst. So do not get caught off guard like I did with them. Horrible to happen when you're trying to hold an angle. They come in as a whole team, you hold down click, and they all just get by and kill you because you didn't realize it was a burst gun. Tip number 15, learn your agent. Even if you just hop into a custom game, you can just test out all your different abilities, and you can hold down F1 and it tells you exactly what each one does. Do that with each of the agents just to learn the basics of them so that you can improve in the game before you get started. Tip number 16, don't waste your agent unlocks. As you can see here for Raze, you need to get to tier 5 with her contract already activated to unlock her. And it's the same with everyone that you haven't unlocked. You view their contract, you need to get to tier 5, which is 25,000 XP using any character, before you actually then unlock the one you want. So don't waste it straight away on a character just because you think they look cool. Actually choose one that suits your playstyle and has the abilities that you enjoy. Tip number 17, learn your arsenal, learn the weapons, go visit the practice range where you can try out this big target. It tells you where it is you're hitting it. You can send it to different distances to try the guns out at different ranges. It's got a little person that you can shoot, test out the damage that you're getting at the different ranges, use whatever gun you want, and they'll tell you accurately what each of them do at the different ranges. Great just for when you're starting the game, just to learn the different guns. You can bring it up close and you can test the spray patterns without trying to control them, and then once you learn it, you can then try and control it. Tip number 18, communicate. If you know the enemy team's pushing B, let your team know. I mean, nothing helps the team win a game more than communication. If all 5 of you are talking to one another, you're more likely to win your game and outfrag the enemy team. Whichever team has more communication is always going to have the advantage over the other team. So just always, when you can, give calls. No one likes a quiet teammate. Tip number 19, know when to buy and save. After the end of round 12, anything you have, you get rid of because you swap sides, and you start your money again from 800. So, what you want to do is you want to make sure you use what you have. If you have only 3,000 in a round, and the rest of your team is able to buy, just buy shields and maybe the Spectre, that's 2,600. Whereas if you have 6,000, but the rest of your team is only 1,000, maybe just buy shields and a sheriff. You don't want to buy a full buy when your team can't buy anything, and you also don't want your team to buy everything when you can't buy anything. So always manage your money so you can all buy as a team. And if 4 of you can buy and 1 of you can't, maybe between the rest of you, you'll be able to buy that one person a weapon. Tip number 20, have fun. You've got competitive where you get a rank and it's more serious. You've got unrated where it's more New players just want to have fun, just chill and relax. You've got custom games for if you just want to mess around with friends, practice strats. Then there's practice, where you can just explore everywhere, mess around with all of it. You can just test your shooting. You can practice your spike planting and then defending it from the enemies. Or you can practice retaking the site, getting rid of the enemies and then defusing the spike. It's up to you. As I said, have fun. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please like, comment, share and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Hope you enjoyed.